Hello, everybody. This is Mehdi from Sunny Bliss Plumbing Air. I'm gonna be presenting today an overview of how much it costs to install an air conditioning system in Miami. So I prepared a presentation for you, and we're gonna go over the details right now. Let's go on. This slide is important to me because this is pretty much what defines what our company is about. I have it in every presentation that I share with my team. We do weekly trainings. Even when I talk to customers, I talk about this because this is really the DNA of our business. And essentially, our culture is based on 5 values. The first one is integrity. The second one is accountability. Third one, constant improvement. We always want to become a better version of ourselves. Teamwork and desire to win for ourselves and for our customers. Let's jump right into it. So, how much does it cost to do and to get a new HVAC unit in residential HVAC units in Miami? The range usually is between 5,900 to 22,000. This is the full range of our installations, but also, actually, we've never done an installation for less than 5,900. And also, we've researched what other companies in Miami install systems for, and this is the price range we've come up with. What we're considering in this evaluation are essentially companies that are licensed, insured, that are established as well. We're not necessarily accounting for people that are running a business out of their vans and don't have proper insurance or even proper licensing, right? Because that has a huge factor into the pricing. We looked at the last trailing 12 months for all the installs that Sunny Bliss has done over in Miami, and our average for installation is $9,254. What does that include? It includes the machine itself, so the system. It includes the labor and the permitting. What's not included here, we don't mention it, but it's also part of the package, and what you're paying for is the warranty. If we install a system and there is an issue with that system, we're responsible for that, and we'll make sure that we come back to address any issue that may happen. This slide, I like it because it's pretty much the fine print. It talks about some of the details that have to do with the installation and the cost. We have here as an illustrated system where you can see the condenser and the air handler. The condenser goes outside. The air handler is inside of your home, typically in a garage, sometimes in an attic. So we remove the existing equipment that you have. We dispose of it. We also deliver the new equipment. We install a new drain for your system, a new drain overflow shut-off switch. We bring in a new air handler stand. Also, the system comes with new auxiliary drain pan, water sensor. We reuse the existing condensing unit support. We bring in the tie downs for hurricane requirements per code. That's included in your installation. We include everything that's needed essentially to pass inspection. We also connect to the existing refrigerant lines. We connect to the existing condensate drain line, existing ducts. We use the existing wiring, whether it's low voltage or high voltage. And if a train is needed for the installation, we always include the train in the cost of the installation. Okay. Now let's look at what is not included. Okay? Not included the condensing unit support. So that's essentially what your condensing unit is sitting on outside typically or on the roof. The installation doesn't include new refrigerant lines. So if we have to change the refrigerant lines, that would come on top of whatever is quoted for the installation. We don't include a new condenser drain line. We don't include new ducts. Low voltage wiring is as it is. So if we have to run new cables, that's an additional cost. And here you have the full list. And I'll make this available to you on the article and in the YouTube comments where this video will be available. So what are the factors that influence the cost of an installation? We've identified 7 key factors that will determine ultimately what the price is. The number one is the size of your system. are we going to have a 2-ton system, 3-ton system, 4-ton system, or 5-ton system? These are the typical sizes. And then sometimes you have 2.5 tons, 2.5 tons. You have sizes in between the sizes. That's important because that's going to determine how much cooling the system is going to deliver to your house, and it's going to be based on the size of your house. Obviously, a bigger house is going to need more cooling power, which is delivered by the system size, determined by the system size. We've worked in houses that have actually as many as 11, 12 AC units. Once you reach the 5-ton size, typically what you do in a residential setting is just add more systems and dedicate systems to different areas within the house. Then you have the efficiency rating. Not all systems operate the same way. You have systems that are very efficient. They're going to use less power and deliver the same cooling. And we're going to go over those different options. The brands matter as well. We have premium brands and you have more value brands. We'll go over the pricing for each of those brands. And then you have different types of systems. Systems that essentially either turn on and off, and those are single stage systems that are less efficient. And you have systems that adjust continuously to the needs, the cooling of your house. So we'll go over that. And those are the inverter systems, inverter-based systems called variable speed systems. Then the complexity of the installation is going to be a big factor. Some installations require multiple people to work on it. Sometimes I've had installations that require 6 people on the commercial side. And you have installations that are more simple, and typically the minimum number of people we need for an installation is 2 people. And last, warranty service agreements impact the pricing, and then some customers can choose to add components like UV lights to the installation, and that of course increases the price of the installation. So how does the unit size impact the price? What we do is an assessment of your home to determine what's the proper size of unit you need to cool the home. If usually units that are 2-ton or 3-ton, they range between 5,900 to 11,500, and that includes the installation and the equipment. The system itself, it ranges between 2,500 to 5,500, and that's only the equipment. If it's a 4-ton unit, then we're talking about a range of 7,600 to 15,000 for the installation and the equipment. And the last one is the 5-ton, which is a very common one, and that one would range between 9,000 to 21,000. How do we calculate the load needed that comes from your house? Essentially, there are different tools, and I'll create a video just talking about how we estimate the size of the unit that's needed in your home. But this is a simple form that's used. Obviously, the humidity is going to have an impact. The region you live in is going to have an impact on the sizing of the unit, the square footage of the house, also the ceiling, the height ceiling, because if you have higher ceiling, that means there is more air in the home that needs to be cooled. And then the insulation that's in place, how much sunlight hits the house. If you have a house that has a lot of windows, that means there's a lot more heat that's penetrating into the house. It's less insulated, and therefore you're going to need more cooling power coming from the air conditioning unit. Like I said earlier, not all brands are equal. The high end, and we are a comfort specialist, and we are also a preferred dealer for Lennox. The 3 top brands are Trane, Lennox, and Carrier. The range between $7,500 for these units to $22,000. If you go with the mid tier, you have 2 types of systems. You have that we install the Ream or Rood. This is pretty much the same company. And then the other brand is American Standard. These systems typically range between $6,500 to $16,800 installed. And then the budget or value tier, usually we install either Grand Air or Goodman. And those range between $5,900 to $12,800. How does the system type impact the price? So, like I mentioned earlier, there are systems that are more efficient than others. If you have a single stage system, that means that your air conditioning system is going to either turn on or off, and it's going to cycle between those two positions. It's not the most efficient. And then you have the two-stage systems, and that essentially can work at different velocities. And what that means is that the capacity to cool can be either expanded or contracted based on the season and how much the heat outside and how much cooling power do you need. So that's the two-stage one. So it has a little bit more variability. You can have 2 to 6 velocities, speeds at the compressor level, and that helps essentially the system work more efficiently. So instead of going full power or going at zero, there are velocities in between. And you can think of these velocities on riding a bike as well. It's you have bikes that don't have velocity, different gears. You have other bikes that have multiple gears. And honestly, the optimal one is the one that has variable speed. Variable speed units is going to work a lot longer. And as it works, because it can have different velocities that adapt to the need of your home for cooling power. And because it's going to work longer, it's gonna remove the humidity for a longer time. Because the HVAC unit you have, especially if you live in Miami, it's a very humid weather, and you want the AC unit to work as much as possible. Working is taking out the humidity of your home. That's why you have that condensate line that's coming out of your AC unit that has water come out of it. That water comes from the air that's inside your home. And if, for example, you install a single stage unit and we're in the winter time, meaning you don't need the machine to work as much to cool your house. If you have a single stage system, it's going to cool, it's going to work full capacity, and then it's going to turn off for a long time. During that time that it's going to turn off, the humidity is not taken out of your home. Whereas with the variable speed unit, essentially the capacity of the system is going to contract to adjust to the needs of the home, but it's going to work very efficiently in the sense that because it's almost like having a smaller system, and it's going to work for longer, even though it has the capacity to work on a bigger size home. It adjusts to the environment, so it's going to work more continuously and also more efficiently, and it's going to remove the humidity for a longer period of time, which is exactly what you want. It takes out all the humidity. These are the ranges. Single stages, we see them range between 5,900 to 11,500. The multi-speed or two-stage range between 7,600 to $15,000. That's installation and equipment, of course. And then variable speed units, the minimum we've installed variable speed units was around 9,150, and they go as high as $22,000. Complexity. Sometimes we need to install units in attics, and it's not the most convenient. And attics, can have a lot of space. You see in this one, where you can actually stand and work, but there are attic spaces that are very narrow, and you can barely move around. Besides the fact that the temperature in the attics is extremely high. And then what you see on the right is a commercial installation we've done where you have the mechanical room that's just elevated. And we had to bring in a 15-ton beam system, AC split system into that door that you see there, but the system could barely fit into that space. And then we had to rotate it. We had actually to even break it in two parts and then reassemble it inside of that space. So highly complex. We had 6 people involved. There was very limited space. We needed more people. If you have damaged ductworks, or if you have to run new lines, if you have to run new low voltage cables, all of that is additional complexity that's going to increase the cost of the installation. Then we have the warranty. When you install the system, that system, the manufacturer typically is going to warranty the compressor for 10 years or 12 years in some cases, and the parts. With the parts for the first 10 years, as long as it's a residential system, are going to be covered. And then on the labor side, typically contractors offer 1 to 5 year labor warranty, and that's in case there's anything that happens with the unit, the labor, you wouldn't have to pay for the labor. Okay, we highly insist with our customers on getting the 10-year extended labor warranty. What that means is no matter what happens with your unit for the first 10 years, you're covered. The labor is paid by this insurance that's provided by JB Warranty, which is essentially the gold standard when it comes to the labor warranty for HVAC installations. On the other side of the presentation, what you see there is the maintenance plan that Sunny Bliss offers. This is a visit that we're going to do twice a year for your HVAC system to make sure that the system is operating efficiently. We're going to tune up whatever needs to be addressed and make sure that you're ready for the hot season. The visits usually happens before the summer and after the summer. Last but not least, there are different components that customers can decide to add to the systems. One of them is a thermostat. We have thermostats that are very affordable, but we have a Trane thermostat that's cost to us $600. So to the customer, it usually goes for $950. We can decide to include this thermostat depending on the system that's been installed, but that's an incremental cost sometimes. Then you have UV lights. Some customers care about air quality in their home, and I am going to create a video talking about air quality and the different options there. And then the dehumidifier is a component that's gaining in popularity among our customers, and we can install a dehumidifier in addition to your AC unit. Not all contractors are equal. I mentioned that we're trained comfort specialists. What that means is we have to stay up to date with the Trane technology and train our team on a regular basis. But besides that, our company is very big on training, and we're training our team every week. Besides the coaching that we do in the field, by shadowing our technicians, doing ride-alongs, etc. And if you're going to hire a contractor, make sure you check their license, their insurance, their references. Make sure they're actually established and they have an office they work out of. We've heard horror stories with contractors in Miami, unfortunately, and we'd love to earn your business. Feel free to challenge us or ask us for whatever information you need from us, and we're happy to provide it. And this is it. I'm Mehdi Kachani. I'm actually the founder of the company with Jessica Kachani, and we're happy to serve you, and we'll be in touch.